Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Dude here, and by the title of the video, you guys know exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. But before I get started on Gran Turismo's juicy recent developments around the microtransaction model, I want to say that I hate modern video game practice. Although modern games have taken a massive step forward over the years in many different areas, several gamers, including myself, have seen a decline in the enjoyment of their favorite game franchises. The addition of things like skill-based matchmaking, games being released unfinished just to be fixed on a later date after the hype is already dead, and of course, the most egregious offender of them all, microtransactions. I fucking hate microtransactions, man. Seriously. That's why the day Gran Turismo 7 came out, I spent $180 real-life dollars on in-game credits. No, like seriously, I did that. So why me, a morally correct gamer that stands for the betterment of video games best practices, spend my hard-earned maple syrup-drenched Canadian dollars on microtransactions? Well, it's quite simple actually. I wanted to get ahead on my Gran Turismo car setup videos so I could be one of the first to fully grasp GT's tuning and physics. Although I know microtransactions are the second coming of Satan himself, Polyphony Digital have provided me with years upon years of enjoyment with their games that far outweighs the money I've spent on the games themselves. So I didn't really feel too guilty, just a little stupid obviously. I mean, at least it's not like I used any of the additional credits to buy a Bugatti and destroy the early menu books or anything like that. But my purchase did satisfy a need I had. With my full-time job, the grind was made much easier by my venture into microtransactions, and I put good faith in Polyphony Digital as they rarely let me down. As more time went on during the week that the game was released, people began to pick up on a litany of bugs and quite frankly pathetic oversights within GT7, particularly in the online multiplayer portion of the game, and definitely out of character for Polyphony Digital. If I listed all the problems there was, I'd have to make this an hour-long documentary, but the issue's mere existence will contribute to my opinion on these microtransactions later on. In addition to microtransactions, there were other fast ways to grind for in-game credits. One early game method I even made a video on, but the most popular of which being the fucking ranch, mate. So essentially one lap around Fisherman's Ranch. 3 minutes, 97,500 credits. A reasonable payout when considering there are cars in the game worth 12 million credits. But the best part about it, it was completely free, man. You just had to put in a few man hours and that was it. You're good to go. Unfortunately, when we all woke up Thursday, March 17th, many of us were disappointed to find out that our money-making schemes were heavily nerfed, essentially making the grind 2 times as long as before. And honestly, I'm not going to play any dramatic music over it because on the surface, it's really not that big of a deal. Just grind more, builds character, man. Video games, fuck yeah. That is until you look a little deeper on the potential reasoning behind some of these changes. Now for me, there's 2 things. Number 1, it was a decision made for the betterment of the progression within the game, and the second of which, it encouraged microtransactions. Now the first option is pretty self-explanatory and it could be the right reasoning. I don't know. But I do want to take a gentle look at some of the facts that could lead one to believe that the credits in many events were nerfed due to wanting more microtransaction purchasing. Now the first of these reasons is you can't sell cars anymore. This was very evident the day the game came out, and obviously if you could sell cars, this would allow you to make a few more credits in order to put towards buying new parts or other new cars. So it's reasonable to believe that this could be a reason why they didn't have that feature in the game is due to microtransactions. Number 2. Some parts cannot be removed on certain cars. Therefore, if you want a build of your car without a part, you have to buy another car. You know, so obviously maybe they're trying to make it realistic. It makes sense sometimes when you make a change to your car, you can't revert back. But it does kind of make sense that this also could be a measure used to make you buy a new car and access the microtransaction system. And number 3, one of the most egregious of which, you literally get an in-game trophy on your PlayStation for buying the same car 10 times. I mean, it doesn't really get any more blamed than that. That's just kind of a silly trophy. I mean, I'm not much of a trophy hunter myself, but I mean, I bet you I asked many of my friends that do. Pretty silly trophy for a game that's trying to come across as a realistic sim racing game, right? So I don't know. So every numbered Gran Turismo game since Gran Turismo 4 has had this thing called B-Spec mode. Now, B-Spec mode is a good way to progress through the game, and it's actually wildly entertaining and gives you a new perspective on racing. But Gran Turismo 7 is the first numbered Gran Turismo game to not have this feature. Now, could the reason they didn't have this feature just be because the technology just isn't there yet? We saw a recent development of this Sophie AI that Polyphony Digital had been working on go around a track and beat real-life racers, so I don't think that's the reason. Could the reason that B-Spec is on the game possibly be due to people abusing it in previous games to farm credits, it is a really passive and easy way to get credits if you don't want to drive yourself. And the other one that any gamer can pick up on, whether you're casual, serious, whatever, is the car prices have gone up substantially, even since the previous entry in Gran Turismo Sport. And finally, for the last point that I have, the moment that there was a decent payout method discovered, whether it was posted on YouTube or it was posted on Twitter or shared amongst friends, the second that Polyphony found out about these payout methods, they immediately went to work to try to patch the game. And to me, I don't really see getting credits in an event over and over again as a bug. It's a very common practice in many different video games. Could many of these points be coincidences and have nothing to do with the microtransaction system? Sure. And you have things like car invitations that expire after a certain period of time and then you can't buy the car anymore, pressuring you into getting the car as soon as possible. And then you have this friggin' roulette wheel that always gives you the fucking shittiest prize every single time. I mean, one could believe that this is all centered around a microtransaction system to try to milk as much money as possible out of the user. But what rubs me the wrong way the most is many of the issues that I mentioned earlier from day one of the game still haven't been addressed. But making my credits grind as miserable as possible, I guess, is a priority. I guess having the ability to modify settings in a lobby isn't very important. I don't know, man. It just, something seems fishy to me. To be honest though, even in the worst case scenario, where microtransactions are at the forefront of these recent in-game changes, most of us, including me, will continue to play Gran Turismo regardless. Gran Turismo 7 does have the potential to be a masterpiece as long as Sony and Polyphony stop stepping on their own toes. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think there is a sinister ploy to get people to dump money into microtransactions? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Other than that, guys, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. It's been your boy Dude, and I'm out. Peace.